Think about the last time someone called you, not to ask a favor, not to vent about their own problems, not to coordinate schedules, but just to ask how you are. Really ask, and wait for the real answer. Take a moment with that. Because for many women in their 40s and 50s, that moment is surprisingly hard to find. Not because they are unloved, not because they have pushed people away, but because somewhere between the career and the kids and the marriage and the years of holding everything together, something quietly disappeared. The friendships. The real ones. The kind where you don't have to perform okay. Where someone knows your history, your fears, the version of you that exists before the roles kicked in. If you are reading this and feeling a quiet recognition, maybe something between relief and grief, this video is for you. Because nobody told you this was coming. Nobody warned you that you could be surrounded by people and still be profoundly, privately alone. She didn't lose her friends all at once. There was no falling out, no dramatic ending. It happened the way most losses happen in adulthood. Slowly, without announcement, disguised as busyness. In her 20s, friendship was ambient. It existed in the spaces between everything else. The spontaneous dinners, the late-night phone calls, the friends who just showed up. She didn't have to schedule intimacy. It was just there. Then her 30s arrived, and with them, the career that demanded everything, the relationship that needed tending, the children who needed even more. The friendship started requiring effort she didn't have. Calls got shorter, visits got rarer. The group chats replaced the conversations. And one by one, the connections that used to feed her quietly went from close to cordial to occasional to gone. She told herself it was temporary, that things would slow down, that she would reach out when life settled. But life didn't settle, and now she is 50 or close to it, and she looks around and realizes the settling never came. And the friends she was going to call when it did, she doesn't know who they are anymore. Here is what the research actually shows, because this is not a personal failure. It is a documented pattern with a name, a cause, and consequences that go far deeper than most people realize. A landmark study from Oxford University, led by Professor Robin Dunbar, found that close friendships require something that adult life systematically eliminates: time, proximity, and shared experience. His research showed that without regular, unhurried contact, even strong friendships begin to fade within 3 to 5 years. Not because the affection disappears, but because friendship, unlike marriage or family, has no institutional structure to hold it in place when life gets in the way. Research published in the American Journal of Health Behavior found that women over 45 are among the most socially isolated demographics in the country, and critically, not because they lack social contact. They go to work, they attend family events, they have neighbors and colleagues and acquaintances. What they lack is what researchers call deep social connection, relationships where they are fully known, fully seen, and genuinely chosen. And the cost of that gap is not abstract. A meta-analysis from Brigham Young University, examining data from over 3 million people, found that chronic loneliness carries a mortality risk equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, higher than obesity, higher than physical inactivity. The body registers the absence of genuine connection as a threat to survival, because evolutionarily, it was. She is not being dramatic. She is not asking for too much. The hunger she feels for real friendship is one of the most human things about her. There is usually a moment when it becomes impossible to ignore. Sometimes it arrives at a hospital. She gets a diagnosis. Nothing certain yet, just a scare. And she sits in the waiting room and realizes she doesn't know who to call. Not her husband, who will worry. Not her sister, who will make it about her. Someone neutral. Someone who will just sit with her in the uncertainty without needing anything back. and the name doesn't come. Sometimes it arrives at a birthday. 50 arrives or 55, and the party is full of people who know her name and her history and her kids' names. And she feels, standing in the middle of all of it, that not a single person in the room truly knows who she is right now. Not the woman she has become, not the things she thinks about at 3 a.m., not the version of herself she has never had the space to say out loud. Sometimes it arrives as envy. She watches a younger woman on her phone at something a friend said, and she feels something so sudden and unexpected it takes a moment to name it. She misses having that. She didn't realize until just now how long it had been gone. These moments are not signs that something is wrong with her. They are the first honest accounting of what the years have cost. The research on adult friendship is clear about one thing. Waiting for it to happen is not a strategy. The spontaneous intimacy of youth does not return on its own. Building real connection in midlife requires something that does not come naturally to women who have spent decades putting everyone else first. It requires treating your own need for friendship as legitimate, urgent, and worth investing in. The first step is what sociologists call proactive vulnerability. A study from the University of Kansas by Dr. Jeffrey Hall found that it takes, on average, 90 hours of time together to move from acquaintance to genuine friend. But time alone is not enough. What accelerates that process is honesty, saying something real instead of something easy, admitting you are struggling instead of performing fine. The women who rebuild real friendships in midlife are almost always the ones who decide to go first, to say the true thing before they know if it's safe. The second step is creating consistent context. Friendship does not survive on grand gestures and occasional catch-ups. It survives on regularity. The same walk every week, the same coffee every Thursday, the book club that is really just an excuse to sit in a room together. Dr. Dunbar's research shows that frequency matters more than intensity, that small, regular contact builds closeness faster and more durably than infrequent, deep conversations. The third step is releasing the friendships that are held together only by history, not with cruelty, but with honesty. Some relationships from your 20s were right for who you were then. Holding on to them out of loyalty while starving for something real is a form of self-abandonment. You are allowed to make room. She has 100 people in her phone. She can fill a room at a moment's notice. She knows how to be surrounded. What she has forgotten, or was never taught, is how to be known. The friendship drought is not proof that she is difficult to love, or too busy, or past the age where real connection is possible. It is the predictable result of 20 years of a culture that told women their job was to be needed, and that needing something back was weakness. Nobody told you that the women who would have known you, really known you, were out there, also waiting, also performing fine, also sitting with that same quiet hunger and assuming they were the only one. You are not the only one. The connection you are looking for is not behind you. It is not something that existed only in your 20s and cannot be recovered. Research from the Harvard Study of Adult Development, the longest-running study on human happiness ever conducted, found that it is never too late to build the kind of friendship that changes a life. Women in their 60s and 70s who developed one or two genuinely close friendships reported dramatic increases in well-being, purpose, and resilience within 2 years. It is not too late. It was never too late. You just needed someone to tell you it was allowed. Subscribe, because next we talk about the generation that was handed a promise, that they could have it all, and the silent breakdown that happened when they actually tried to keep it.